Step forward, face the camera, remove your poker face and place it in the tray provided. Every passenger who walks through this checkpoint believes they are in control of their own expression. Most of them are wrong within 1/25th of a second. That is not a metaphor, it is a measurement. Somewhere between 1/25th and 1/15th of a second, your face runs a signal your mouth has not agreed to yet. Call it a leak. Call it a flag. The research calls it a microexpression, and it was found by accident in the 1960s by two researchers who were not even looking for lies. They were looking for something much smaller and much faster. Here's the real question for today's screening. If your face can leak the truth in a 25th of a second, can anyone actually stop it? Or is there one very specific condition under which the leak never happens at all? Hold that thought. It matters later, and it changes what reading someone actually means. Next passenger. Most people think reading a face means watching the big stuff: the grin, the scowl, the dramatic eyebrow. Researchers call these macro expressions, and they are honest in the way a press conference is honest. They last up to 4 seconds. That is plenty of time to build one on purpose, hold it, and sell it to a room. The checkpoint does not care about the press conference. The checkpoint cares about the 25th of a second before it. That gap was discovered in 1966, not by a spy agency, but by two researchers named Haggard and Isaacs, who were slowing down old film reels of therapy sessions, hunting for any flicker of unspoken communication between patient and therapist. Play a face at normal speed and you see calm. Play it back frame by frame, and for 1 or 2 frames, something else is standing there. Fear, contempt, disgust, gone before the sentence finishes. A few years later, a researcher named Paul Ekman picked up that thread and pulled hard. He and his colleague built an entire framework around these flickers, and Ekman eventually laid it out in a book with an excellent blunt title, Telling Lies. His finding was not some people leak. His finding was closer to, well, everyone leaks and they leak the same way, regardless of where they grew up. Show the same fast flash of disgust to someone in Tokyo and someone in Toronto, and the muscles fire identically. No translation required. The face runs on a universal protocol. Here's where the checkpoint metaphor stops being cute and starts being literal. The face is not one system. It is two, running in parallel, and they do not always agree. One pathway is voluntary. It is the one you are using right now to arrange your features into whatever this sentence requires. It is slower, deliberate, and fully under your management, the same way a passenger can smile at a customs officer while sweating through a jacket. The other pathway is involuntary. It does not check with management. It fires whenever the underlying emotion fires, whether or not anyone is watching, whether or not you want it to. Under normal circumstances, the voluntary pathway is loud enough to cover for it. But apply pressure, tell someone to hide exactly what they are feeling right now, and the two pathways start fighting for control of the same face at the same time. That fight is the flag. That fight is the leak. And it is exactly why the loudest liars are not the ones who get caught. They are simply better at winning the fight on the surface, for the 4 seconds that matter to an untrained observer. Which brings the checkpoint back to its original question. If the leak is involuntary, is there any way to actually beat it? Any condition under which the 25th of a second simply never shows up at all? There is exactly one. And it has nothing to do with willpower. The one condition is this: the emotion has to actually be there to leak. Suppression fights a real feeling and loses a sliver of it in a 25th of a second. But if there is no feeling underneath, there is nothing for the involuntary pathway to leak. That is the entire loophole. And it is a narrow one, because most people walking through a checkpoint, a negotiation, or a first date are not emotionally blank. They are feeling plenty. They are simply hoping nobody clocks the frame where it shows. So yes, the mouth can win the 4-second press conference. But the face still owns the 25th of a second before it, every single time there is something real to hide. One flag, though, is not a verdict. A single microexpression tells you a feeling was present. It does not tell you why, and it does not hand you a confession. The officer who flags a passenger for one twitch and calls it a solved case is not doing psychology. He is guessing loudly. Real reading takes a cluster of signals and the context around them, not one gotcha frame stopped on a screen, which means the checkpoint's actual job was never to catch liars. It was to notice for 1/25th of a second that something real was standing behind the smile. What anyone does with that information is a separate, much harder question. Next passenger. Face the camera. You already answered before you said a word.